Hello, surprise, surprise, happy Friday. Whew. So what I would like to start with is helping your fields to clear, helping you, your mind, body, spirit systems, so hence your fields to clear of the heaviness that you may be perceiving and carrying, that you may not even be aware of, that you're absorbing from the collective and all that's been going on the planet, as well as the resistance. I mean, the new is coming in, it's demanding its way in, and the old is screaming on its way out, as we've been seeing since the start of January this year. So why don't you sit back and relax, and let's get you shifted. I'm actually going to use my hands to channel energy to your field this time before I go into a verbal clearing. So give me just a moment to open up the etheric tube. This is for all who are either watching live now or who are going to be watching the recording. Hey, Joanna. Hi, Lindsay. So we're clearing your fields of any built up resistance that you have absorbed from the heaviness out there that's been happening since January, increasing with COVID, and then the worldwide protests. So all of the resistance that others are experiencing it in reaction to the old really crumbling and the new pounding its way in. So this is going to be a lot of what's going to be addressed, is what you may not be consciously aware of or had time to even check in. Hi, Shannon. With your, to see that it's in your field and to nurture you, to help you with the resistance that the collective is experiencing with collapsing the old, and to help usher in the new with more grace and ease and less resistance, in all the ways that the new needs support. So clearing your field of, we're going into the back of the throats, chakra and necks. It seems like there's in the shoulders, there's a lot of held up tension there where you've been absorbing as the beautiful, empathic, compassionate, loving, spiritual being that you be. Your concern for humanity, your desire for the well-being of humanity, and having that tension, that absorption clear out of your field. This may have shown up in sleepless nights. This may have shown up in needing to sleep more lethargic-ness, more irritability, more anger, more frustration, more triggering, depressive kinds of thoughts. Delaying, procrastinating, movement towards change, steps that you know need to be taken towards changes. So while you're watching at this point, if you could please inhale and exhale, that would be great to allow some of this energy to reach you more. Okay, now it's starting to drop past the throat chakra in the back, more towards the heart chakra in the back. Good. Better receiving, y'all. It's almost like the imagery I'm getting is that some of you have felt like you've been pounded at from the old of just stuff you've known that's needed to collapse for a long time. And the burden of the old, and where you have felt burdens maybe in your work with this grand shift we're in, considered the greatest evolutionary leap for humankind ever, from 2012 to 2032, and what you've been doing and how you've been even impatient for change. So there's some of a pounding for this to change already. The frustration, the impatience, feeling burdened as well by it, not having already changed and requiring this much suffering, like COVID-19 and like the protests, and another beloved I don't even want to articulate it, just what we know has been going on. Another inhale and exhale. I seem to be going at the front of some of your throat chakras, and this is for those who are here live now, as well as those who will be looking and listening and receiving at the clearing, because with the work I do collapses time and space. It's able to travel without limitation. Thanks for the sparkling love blast there. Okay, so good on you, those of you who were able to catch this live and hopped on live here now with me, because it shows how much attention you pay to your soul. And I don't normally use the word soul. In fact, my first book written my last year in the decade in Asia, I was clean and clear of the word spirit, spirituality, soul. I talked about consciousness, so that as it was presented with a lot of quantum physics, this could be approached from folks who aren't necessarily spiritual, maybe agnostics or even atheists, but just understanding the mechanics of which there are of the universal laws and how consciousness works. And since I've been back and took my business more online, I have ended up more pegged as doing spiritual work with like the choices for Facebook ads or Facebook targeting. Hello, who just said hi to me, who just joined, I can't quite see it. Glad you're here. But we're not just talking about the soul or the spirit. What we're talking about is, and as we approach the solstice next Friday, the solstices are always a day of intense rebalancing. And I've seen, even the session I just came out of, yet another time of karmic completion for another pair of brothers in this life. It's a lot of completion that's happening now as we are in eclipse season all the way through June into the first lunation of July. So we're moving towards the new moon with an eclipse day before the solstice next week. So it is a time for completion, and it's also under the influences of I believe it's Neptune and Mercury and Mars today and tomorrow. It's a great time to take action on behalf of your soul's evolution, or on behalf of your spirituality, but really on behalf of your consciousness, which is the thoughts that you hear every day. What do you pay attention to? So what I'd like to also address, and this is the main guidance behind why these are equal, like helping your field get a bit more clear of all the resistance that's been called up since January, increasingly, and helping you to move forward. Hi, Claire. As well as to help with the rebalancing of the material and the spiritual as we move into the solstice. So when I say spiritual, what I do mean is just paying attention to your consciousness. That's, I mean, my first bit in the field of consciousness was as a meditator and a meditation teacher, in yoga even earlier than that in college. And so when we are aware of our ability to observe our thoughts, that means we have increasing detachment. And that's the very, very, very beginning level. If you can observe your thoughts, if you can observe your mind thinking, that means you're not your thoughts. That means there's another part of you, or a higher part of you. And so from there, then all of the other things I talk about can be extrapolated, like the rearranging of the vibration that you emanate out collectively from clearing out unconscious and subconscious buried blocks in the relevant chakras that all arrange together we can play you like an instrument, so your overall vibration's singing. So when I say balancing the materialism and spirituality, I don't mean what you may your mind may automatically conclude, I mean, especially if you're new to me, I mean paying as much attention to the inside and internal world and your power that resides there, as well as paying attention to the material realm. And that is I just felt so many of you go, yes, that is in a major, massive way one of the main rebalances that's happening as we transition from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. And it feels really clear to me with what we're seeing as the fallout and results of COVID-19, where people who don't usually think about the nature of life were. And a lot of philosophizing about why this is happening as I shied away from, right? Because it's what I've been talking about for a decade now, or 9 years since I learned about this in 2011. So I want to put my hands down now and give myself a break, and just know my hands are down here, helping to ground some of this energy even more. And thank you for being you, because you're helping on behalf of the collective to ground more of this balancing. So maybe less crisis and suffering is needed, so that there's more proactive, forward-moving energetics on the planet, or vibrations, that you, on the cutting edge of consciousness here with me, are able to help kind of lead the pack so that the masses can get it sooner. And so coming back from Asia, one of my awarenesses and behind my mission is how much increased suffering there is in the West, because we tend to run away from paying attention to our thoughts. It's this impression I get. And I remember it like my second year back, having back-to-back sessions with clients, how so many of them came from a Catholic background and had this element of guilt or shame, and this element of fear in particular, of looking at themselves in their mind, because they've been taught and trained there's either a boogie monster in there, there's badness in there, I need to run from it, or I'm crazy. And the basic premise of Buddhism is all human minds are neurotic. Here are the tools, therefore, to work with your own particular flavor. So on that note, here's a little bit of a funny. So there was this couple who adopted a child. They lived in America, and this is not a true story, it's a joke. And they adopted a German child, a little boy. And so they brought him back to America, and age one they brought him back as an infant. And so age one, he's typically developing nicely along the expected path of developmental progress. And then at age 2, he's not making much noise. 2.5, 3, words aren't coming. So the parents were like, what do we do? Do we give him more English lessons? And so they just waited patiently and thought it was still adjustment. And so then age 4, he still wasn't speaking. So then they started to wonder if their child was ever going to talk. And then, thank you, Tammy. And then at age 5, they're having his birthday party, and they had made some kind of roast, and he came walking back into the kitchen after the roast had been served, and he said, "Could you please cook this more?" And his parents were like shocked, because these are the first words he had ever said at age 5. And the mom says, "You can talk?" And he said, "Of course I can. Just up until now, everything's been satisfactory." You might need to go back and then listen to that, because you may be too serious to be able to lightly laugh. Because this work isn't meant to be just work, right? It's meant to free us up to have more joy and to have more laughter. And it is hyper serious on planet Earth right now, particularly in the States. It's one of my strongest understandings and one of my biggest motivations why I have lived outside of the States as an expat at various times throughout my life, including that entire decade. How I've traveled internationally as much as I have, and why I continue to, because there is an element of the United States that just causes us to be problem focused and really serious. It's accepted. And you know what it is? It's because we value the intellect so much, and we're still a masculine dominated paradigm. When we are a masculine dominated paradigm, we're focused on the external more. We're focused on the manifestations more. When we're in a more feminine paradigm, we look inside, we know the power inside with working with our thoughts, learning to become detached, learning to allow something to seed before, we just start telling everybody this is the thing I'm going for. We let something seed, we get more information, we value our guidance, we trust our guidance, we know we actually have a connection that gives us this guidance. We don't just doubt it away or think it's our imagination, as valuing the intellect is caused in the United States of America in particular. So that is one of the main areas that's rebalancing. That's why so many beloved hearts are out in the streets protesting, because they're coming from the heart. They're coming from compassion and unity. They're not allowing these like oppressive, domineering, top-down, hierarchical, old masculine arrangements anymore. But one of the areas that doesn't tend to get noticed as much, unless like it's on at church on Sundays or in a religious setting, is tending to what connects us to the divine or to something bigger than ourselves. And there's such drawn lines in the United States, like don't talk about spirituality because then you lose that entire group of people. Don't talk about your soul because then that's going to trigger other people. Don't talk about the heart because then you're going to seem like one of those types of people. But all of this is combined with consciousness. So I want to do anywhere and everywhere your life, Jesus here, anywhere and everywhere your life is still being wildly uncomfortable or out of balance because of the conditioning or any other the reasons I'm going to list, where you are still valuing the mind and the intellect and all that it brings, and still doubting the spiritual presence of something bigger than you, or the presence of something divine, or the presence of chi or life force that permeates all existence, behind the scenes of all existence, and that you're connected to it. So anywhere and everywhere where you have been taught to value what this can produce, the output that you do from this trained mind, from the academic world, and then you measure your success and you prove your success and you validate the measurement of how good this is by what you've outwardly produced and therefore gained. Would you be willing to burn all of that up now to help bring our planet back, especially in the West, especially in the States, into balance more, to make it softer? And that includes those of you who shy away from money because you consider yourself spiritual. So this is where you'd say yes. Lindsay's already said yes. So I'm getting ready to burn all of that up with the flames of transmutation. Can't see who that is. I don't feel like wearing these. Hi, Hope. It's Shannon. I hear you, sister. Yes, Joanna. Okay, so I'm just gathering some energy here. I seem to still be running the clearing of resistance. Hi, Rosalind. Hi, Natalie. So before I can enter into actually deepening the clearing that I just brought up, there's still resistance that's clearing in your fields from all that you've absorbed from the collective, feeling the triggering to change and not wanting to change, people's reactivity to it, the heaviness. Okay. So any and all of the karma as appropriate that causes you to value, still in your own way, the mind and the intellect and your thoughts, therefore, over the heart, the spirit, your consciousness, your interior world, that is your access to power. All of the contracts, oaths, vows, swearings, and promises and blood oaths across all time, space, dimensions, and realities, lifetimes, timelines, all imprints from your parents, parents and lineage, and any and all of the conditioning from the trance of the masses, and valuing the output, valuing the masculine, valuing the mind, valuing the intellect, valuing the productivity, the fear of looking within, the running away from going within, the running away from one's power, because that's where it resides. Why do you think we run from it? You go through. You don't run away. Any and all of the conclusions and beliefs and judgments you have that lead to you valuing the intellect and your wittiness and sarcasm even, and astute, like proving your intellectual prowess and your astuteness, versus like proving how kind and compassionate you are, not being as valued or measured even. All of the imbalance between the material and the spiritual that is still continuing on planet Earth, that is also perpetuated by any free-floating thoughts and traumas you've ever had across all time, space, dimensions, realities, and lifetimes. All of it's getting burned up with the flames of transmutation now. Good, someone just shifted. Quieting it all down now so you can go into center and really receive the guidance, have the clarity, the knowing. You don't doubt what you heard. You just know and you take action. Guidance, interior, feminine. Action, external, masculine. So anything and everything that still keeps those out of balance and keeps you blocked in either of these flows. Again, in particular, the overvaluing of the masculine paradigm in the patriarchy in the West. So the emphasis on the intellect rather than on the interior, and these being in balance. So it's a higher order of logic, like I talk about in my book, Reasonable Dragons. It's just a higher order of logic. Many global leaders have talked about their use of intuition. Really successful business owners have talked about their use of intuition throughout the years. Taking it to the next level. And then the next level, where you're more capable of living in alignment with your higher self and the connection to all of life, to where all the life force comes in and all the flows start from, whether it's joy or energy or the next relationship or money. Got to get us opened and allowing our fields to interact with all of life and aligned. It goes beyond just, I'm using my intuition for better business. So let's include, because I believe that there's, I don't have everybody's names here, but I believe that right now there's all women. So let's also include where the female herself is felt undervalued, under-listened to, underrepresented. Hi Tracy, hi Chandra, Crow City over there for Claire, excellent. Thank you for that. So any and all latent keys and codes and ancient wisdom and inherent talents within you and all around you, and any and all blessings and support possible to bring this all into alignment with your at least fifth dimensional divine blueprint for your highest possibilities and your highest potential to be realized, and for your highest destiny to become physically actualized. Activating the upgrade now. It's a beautiful clearing. So I have special guests lined up for, congrats on all of you who are in Activate Your Magic already. Friday of the solstice, I'm going to do the Zoom for June, and I have some special guests lined up, and we're going to go in and really work on rebalancing the masculine and the feminine and what that leads to. And the special guests are men embodying the divine masculine with me. So we're going to bring up some stuff. So if you have some men in your life that you would love, or you're a man, this Zoom is definitely one that it's a clarion call for the end of the old, with the way there has been abuse of power, that aggressive form of the masculine, and really modeling with the special guest the divine masculine in action. And then I'll do this throughout the second half, clearings and activations. So if you're in Activate Your Magic, the new membership that was just relaunched, you're going to get that. The Zoom event is included. Some of you before have signed up for both. The bonuses are extended through Sunday night, so that $400 worth of the most in-demand products has been extended till Sunday night. Take spiritual action on your behalf Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's why, in great part, the bonuses have been extended, because of the alignments with some of the planets that are asking us to take on more of a spiritual practice, to deepen our own spiritual practice, which is in great part why I did the clearing I just did. And so what would it take for you beauties to retain perspective as you go about your days? And you may hear certain news or may see certain news in your news feed, that mountaintop or even satellite perspective, knowing that this is all rebalancing. Hi, Denise. That'd be cool, Shannon. I was thinking that for some reason I'm feeling like I'm not being valued as a sexual creature right now. Okay. It's a little bit much, but Lindsay will be going into that on the Zoom. I know I touched upon that, so I don't mean to imply you're going into something too much. It's just for me to address here on the Facebook Live. I'm planning on addressing that in the Zoom event that you've signed up for, in your AIM membership. On Friday's event, there's been a lot of focus, by the way, recently. When I say recently, I mean the last 2 months, 3 months, as these rebalance, in particular on helping women and men where there has been the coupling of money and sex, unraveling that for more freedom and more higher vibratory actions on both parts. So when you see something about like the divine masculine and feminine rebalancing, it means in my world so much more. Rebalancing of the materialism and spiritual presence in what we come from and prioritize and value. So yeah, the Zoom event will involve some of that rebalancing next Friday. So those of you who aren't already signed up for the new AIM, take some action on your behalf, please. You'll get $400 in bonuses that are Stop Stopping Yourself. That's the highest, that's one of the most in-demand products, as well as the Activate Your Prosperity and Freedom Vibration that has one of my all-time favorite pieces of healing work I've ever done on money. It's called Empowered Abundance, to take you out of where you feel like you're at the mercy of anything outside of you that's creating your money flows and restoring it to you. And then there's a couple of really strong activations done at stone circles and sacred sites that are all the bonuses that you get until Sunday night to sign up when you sign up for this new aim. And the new aim is fabulous. It's a lot of output on my part, and it's a lower price, but it's needed right now, as are these occasional Facebook Lives. So if you want to go back in for a second level of cleaning, I highly recommend it. And just listen to this again as soon as I post it. Get some rest. I'm gonna take care of yourselves. Namaste. Bye.